mushrooms.
When life throws challenges at you, sometimes you need a little bit of magic. And you can find magic in all sorts of ways. We define that as mushrooms.
That we do.
Magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms. They feel so good. Magic mushrooms. In the woods. Up in Maine. I took my clothes off. It felt so good, so good, felt so good. Magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms. Feel so good. Magic mushrooms.
Tanya Jones, and you're watching God Spice with Greg and Kirti.
All right, on this episode, we do have a great friend of ours, Ms. Tanya Jones from Mama Bear Media, that's joining us on this lovely afternoon.
Yes. And you know what's crazy? I feel like we've been friends for a really long time, but we're actually celebrating our first anniversary of becoming friends this month.
Yes. New friends.
It's like crazy.
You know what I always say? I'm like, I don't need new friends. I have enough friends. And I swear to God, I get like amazing people that come into my life. So I'm going to stop saying that because that's not really nice.
And so
it's about quality versus quantity.
Absolutely.
So I kind of understand that.
Yeah.
That is my New Year's anti-resolution resolution.
What is it?
It's quality over quantity.
Yes. I'm with you.
So what we've decided to do is reduce the amount of boyfriend and girlfriends that we have and just be with each other.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
Yeah.
You know?
We decided to be loyal to one another.
Yes. Finally, you guys.
I know. It's
Finally.
Years in the making.
No judgment, though.
Yeah.
Not
whatever you're into.
You're spending the night, right?
You put
Ooh.
Greg.
I thought you were a cougar, but that was like a kitten.
Why do I have to be a cougar? Because I'm 48?
No, I thought you said you...
Ew.
Wait, what? What's wrong with being a
You
cougar?
both
I
the
told
same
you
age.
of a possibility of a date with a 30-year-old. That makes me a cougar.
Whoa.
What do we call men?
Whoa.
What do we call men?
What
do we call them?
hot, gorgeous individuals?
No,
I don't know.
I call
Men who date younger women. What
I
do we
call them horny horn dogs.
Those are called sugar daddies.
Sugar daddies.
I think they're horn dogs.
I am nobody's sugar mama, that's for sure.
They are Viagra users.
Or Cialis.
Don't
discriminate.
Somebody's getting a little testy over here.
Or
That's your next sponsor.
Or those of us who have yet to need anything in particular.
Right, like Greg.
Yes.
Hers, hims.
Luckily,
I'll find out later since I'm invited over.
Luckily not needed yet. But
Well, when I
you
have
know
someone
what?
as gorgeous as you, I'm not sure if I'll ever need someone.
Oh, that's so sweet, honey.
He said, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I'll make it more definitive.
Yeah.
I absolutely will never need anything.
Okay.
say-
Thank you, honey.
Yeah.
You're
That's a
welcome.
little bit better.
Okay, good.
As much as we know Tanya, I think it'd be great for our friends who join our episodes to get a little bit of a view and a gander into who Tanya Jones is. So can you share a little bit, please?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Philadelphia. I'm a Philly girl. When people ask me where I'm from, I never say from New York because I'm not. I'm from Philly. So although I've lived here for 25 years, I work in production. I'm an executive producer. I have my company, Mama Bear Media Group, and I do all types of different stuff from scripted to lifestyle, a lot of work in food. I started my career at Food Network. I do a lot of like design, short form, long form. And this year, I'm just really looking to like develop some show ideas and concepts. I helped you guys in the very beginning, which you
I was about to say.
Which was a huge, massive help.
You did not need a lot of help because you're great together. The chemistry is great, and you had ideas, and we just like.
But we did shoot our first 2 episodes with borrowed equipment from
We
you,
did.
Yeah.
which we, are so thankful for. You
Yes.
gave us that jump, to get into this that
Yeah.
we were kind of really holding back from.
Yep,
So thank you.
You're a catalyst.
Aw, you guys are sweet, and you're always tagging me and stuff, and I think you're doing great. I'm really like so excited for you.
Thank you.
And you're inspiring me. I want to like start one too because I think we all just love to gab and talk and like get real. And we had lunch a couple of weeks ago that turned into like dinner and then midnight snacks maybe. But it was such a
And
good
some
time.
people passed out.
Yes.
Some of us disappeared.
But we talk like real talk, which is awesome. And that's kind of like what I love too. I love music. I'm a big music head. I sang in college. I was in an a cappella group. I'm a mom. My son is 17. I'm also a life coach.
Wait, hold
certified.
on.
Oh,
17-year-old son.
yes.
So you don't age?
Oh, thank you. Well, you know what they say. I mean, I'm not going to say it, but you know that saying about sisters.
I mean, yes, there's a bit more melanin right in our skin. But
But she said
then-
our skin. See, she got herself in there too because I was
Yes.
about to toss it to
Yes.
you.
She's
No,
like, I'm
no,
not
no.
a cougar. I'm a panther.
What the hell?
I would
What's with
say-
you and the cats?
Oh, right. What
I don't
is
know.
that?
They're felines. You know.
Jesus.
And
Making me hot in here, Greg.
Of course, and what's
Talking
what's
fur.
what's better than a pussy cat?
Oh my Lord.
God, I love it. Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
We are rocking.
Pussycat.
Pussy cat.
You do not need to encourage him, Tanya.
Why not? We're
too
going to the
fun.
Pussy Cat Club after this.
Does that exist?
Oh, downtown. What is it called? The
That's the gentleman's club.
wait.
Well, there's a Hustler
Black
Club. That's what
Fat
you're thinking of,
Pussycat?
right?
I don't know. I don't go to
Black
clubs.
Fat Pussycat.
Well, there
is
was
the name of it.
there was the Pussycat out in which we used to go to in L.A.
Oh.
It was actually just a nice club.
Did the Pussycat Dolls
Did
come
you
out and
live
do their dancing?
Yeah, we actually threw parties there back in the day, like corporate parties.
Oh, that seems
early,
inappropriate.
the early days of the internet.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no.
Well,
it was,
Oh, is it internet
Before
days?
hashtag Me Too. You know, all kinds of nonsense, especially in music.
yeah. Well, it was hashtag Me Too in a different sense. It was I want to be invited too.
Right. I'm like, right. Anyway.
Do not agree with
I know, I'm
anything he
not.
spews.
I am not.
Wait,
I
what?
have my own brand.
Oh, that's
You know
messed-
what, Tanya? We always have to pause for a second after Greg says something because
'Cause
you
it's
might
so-
have just been roped into.
Yeah.
No,
agreeing
because it's
something that-
intellectual, and sometimes it takes a few minutes to digest. Some people sometimes have to go to an encyclopedia or learn more about it, or even look up what I'm saying in a dictionary.
Why did we agree to dry January? This is the episode I needed my tequila.
You have asked for it several times, but I am very proud that we're not drinking.
You
we're
know
not.
what? It's
We're
a
shooting
good
up
thing.
instead.
It's a good thing I don't want to get up
Got
from my
spice.
seated area.
Oh my lord, she took like 4 gummies earlier.
No, I didn't.
no.
Dayquil gummies. That's right, guys.
Yes.
So, if I seem a little off or, jittery, it's because I am pumped up with some
you did take it.
antibiotics
Oh, yeah.
and Dayquil.
That's
So,
right. It might not have been a gummy. It was something else congealed. Well, the reason why
coming.
she's taking Dayquil, she's like, oh, if we're doing a dry January, I have to drink something. And what does
my
Dayquil
God!
have? It has alcohol in it.
Do not misrepresent
that is not true.
No.
He is always misrepresenting me.
I am not. I represent you quite well.
Am I at the expense of all your jokes?
No, you make fun of me all the time.
Do not make me collateral damage.
You're not. You're not collateral damage. You're like a gorgeous
Back-
mountain
her.
full of diamonds.
A mountain?
Stop talking.
I don't know where this is going.
Stop talking, Greg.
I think that's not a good idea to call me a mountain.
A mountain that he wants to climb.
Oh,
Get on top of. Oh my God! You just did a Greg.
You pulled a Greg.
I just did a Greg.
We go to the closet and break out my mountain climbing gear.
Oh, no.
It stops now.
No,
Cut.
nope.
Oh my lord.
His-
Nope, strap-ons or hurdles being put on or whatever those things are called.
You got to strap on the cleats.
And this is another thing that we do. We go right into it. It's like nothing can pass without making it about sex.
Maybe
Oh, my
that's
Lord.
why we've been really good friends
Yeah.
for the past year.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's in the past year, I feel like I keep peeling back a new onion layer with you and learning something new. It's so interesting that we find things where we're like, oh my God, I'm so into that. Like
Right.
that, like music.
Yeah.
And And then remember when you came to Connecticut and we had the ghost experience?
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, I don't believe in ghosts.
Really? I don't call them ghosts, though. I felt a presence. We were sitting outside by the fire pit. There were a
Yes.
few of us. And I kept getting something was like pulling me, my eye, like to the right. So we were outside by the fire pit. And then if you looked right, there was the deck and, you know, how you get into the house. And I noticed it a couple of times, but I didn't say it. But finally I was like, oh, by the way, I'm feeling something over here. There's a presence over here. And you were like, what, really? And then our friend Justice said the same thing. And he's very intuitive and spiritual and all of that. And he felt it as well. And then you started telling us about your grandfather. And I said, he's really happy that we're here. That's what I felt.
So
he was happy about the gathering.
We did not, I think, tell you about our real, very clear ghost experience there. And you happen to tell us about feeling spirits.
Yeah.
Because it sounds a little crazy. You invite people to the house, and then we're like, both of us were alone for the day before you all came. I will not forget what we saw. It was cray.
Yeah, it was quite freaky. But actually, it was comforting at the same time.
He was comforted.
I
was
wasn't
scared.
freaked out one
Right.
bit. It was a very...
It's not my home,
it
right?
was a-
So it's like...
It was a comforting experience.
Right. I think you told me, but I forget because we were so drunk all weekend.
Yeah, no. Do you want to tell it? Or should we tell it?
I mean, yeah, so we both were watching a movie in the downstairs TV room.
Right.
We both were just doing marathon movie watching, and the TV went off for a hot second, but then there was a clear silhouette of a man on the TV.
Yes, I remember this.
There was nothing around
Nothing
us that
around
should
us at all.
create that.
And the lights were low in the room, too. It was
Yeah,
2:30,
dim
3 in the
lights.
morning.
And I was like, Greg, do you see that? And he had seen it, but he didn't. I'm
say anything to
I'm
her.
getting
Of course,
goosebumps right now.
validation.
Like a real, just
It was
a
so
silhouette
there.
right there, right in front of
And
us.
then he was like, I see it too.
Oh my
and,
God, I remember that.
And it grew. It was like moving.
Did it move like side to side or did it swell? Like
It
get bigger?
swelled.
Wow.
It freaked me the F out. Like I was like, oh
And
my
it was just really
God.
weird because we were changing. We were literally changing. I think we were at that time on YouTube. And we were going from one video to another. And literally the screen, instead of going right to the next video, it went black. And then that's when that silhouette just came right in.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
I think it's so cool.
They probably can't see this. My hair is like
So,
all up.
but it gets better than this. So we
Yeah.
decided to stay down there. We put on, I think we're watching other videos.
We put something happy on.
Yeah, something happy, like another movie on. And now it's probably 4:30 in the morning, something like that. We decide to go to bed. So we head upstairs and then we're in the bedroom. Then all of a sudden, while we're in the bedroom, we see something up in the corner of...
It was very clear.
Up in the corner of the ceiling.
There's no lights on in the
No
bedroom.
lights, nothing. And so I said to Kirti, I said, I'm going to go back downstairs and see if I can make contact of some sort, or
Right.
just figure out who this might be. At that moment, I actually said out loud, if there is a presence here or if something is here,
Oh my God.
please give us a sign. All of a sudden, right at that moment, just before I finished the word sign, my phone started ringing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they work through phones.
Oh my
And
God.
it was this.
They do.
And it was a jumbled number that came up with part
was
of my.
your
It was
phone
my
number.
phone number just jumbled.
Come on, are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew this part.
No,
Yeah.
that's why we didn't tell you all of this.
Because
Yeah.
you were like, you won't want to sleep in this room because I was downstairs in that same room. That's
No,
where I
but then
slept.
he followed us into our bedroom.
Oh, that's crazy.
So at first I thought
trying to get a message to you.
that's what I'm thinking. So at first I thought, so my parents built the house. So we're the
Right.
first family to ever be in the house. And my parents used to, entertain, which is why when you had mentioned that there was a feeling of spirits outside being happy, my parents used to love to host.
Right.
So I feel that because they're both dead, that
Right.
they were extremely excited that
Yeah.
the house is still being utilized for that type of
Yeah.
purpose, to share with friends.
Yep.
And so that evening when we saw it, my first thought was I thought it was maybe my grandfather because he had died in the house.
Right. I remember
And,
you saying that.
and so I first thought it was him. Then we were talking more about it, and then I was thinking, wait, it could have been my dad
Right.
as well, because it was a man's figure. It
It
wasn't.
was totally.
Could be both of them.
I don't know what your grandfather's silhouette looks like, but I met your dad several times, and it really looked like the silhouette of your dad.
Yeah, it was sort of a freaky.
It was very
It was a freaky
Whoa.
experience, but I felt comforted as well. No, the room wasn't cold. There was
Right.
nothing that you would normally expect from this type of experience. I felt very warm and just very comforted.
Yeah. I was going to say, I wonder if there was a message there that weekend. So it could have been a call for you to like communicate, talk, anything going on, to like express yourself and remember your family or whatever. That's just what's coming to me now. But that's crazy. I
You
love
know
it.
the only incident that happened that weekend?
The only one?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
That weekend was the onion weekend.
What's the onion?
Yeah,
I got mad about when the onions were not done right on the grill.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, not only not done right, she was upset that so she made this wonderful onion like type relish type thing.
Wait, you don't like onions?
Not raw, but
No,
I
cooked
love
onions.
cooked.
Oh, okay.
So we were throwing onions on the grill with this whole like kind of relish packet that she had made, and so she was putting on her on her veggie burger, and people were putting on different things, and at that time I didn't put it on anything. So she got all mad at me.
Because he didn't like.
You didn't even try
I didn't
it.
try. So I tried it later on that evening. Just at that moment in time, I didn't have any. And so it was funny because then we had Lita saying, oh man, I wish I had the same fights that you guys have where you just fight about Greg not eating chicken when you want him to eat chicken because I barely eat meat. And then when I want to eat meat, it's not when, we're eating meat together.
Right.
And then I didn't eat her onions.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
That was the onion incident.
That was the onion incident.
Do you ever go back to the onion incident? Well, you are now, but does it ever come up again?
No, but chicken comes up.
Chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah.
This
That's
is-
a whole other God
that's
Spice
a,
episode.
that's a whole other
That's-
episode. When you fight about nothing.
When you fight about nothing. That's your title.
Yes. Fight
Yes.
about nothing.
You already. Oh, good. I love it. I love it. Yeah. No, there's so many things. I have connections with my mother all the time. My mother passed in 2015. So and I was telling you today, my brother passed in 2019, and I picked up my phone. It said 333. When he died, all of a sudden I was seeing 333 everywhere, noticing it, seeing it. And I was like, I feel like that's
What does
Carlton's way.
333
It's just
mean?
nothing. It meant nothing to me before, but because I was seeing it right after he died, like literally days after, I felt like that was his way of coming, like getting to me, like to be like, hey, I'm on the other side, I'm good, or whatever. I also have a friend, Teresa, who's amazing. She's a psychic from Long Island. And she reached out to me the day after Carlton passed. And she was like, hey, I heard your brother passed. I'm really sorry, but I think he's trying to get through to you. And he said these things. And she just went through like, he was never Christian, never he was spiritual, but like he was definitely following the teachings of like more African centric, like spiritual teachings. And she said as he was crossing over, he was sort of confused about what was happening. But once he got there, he was like, oh, I get it now. It's not about like Christian, Buddhists. It's about like one love. And she said he kept saying to her, one love, one love. And she said when he crossed over, there were like a legion of women who like helped him cross over. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I wonder why women, like, what does that have to do with it?
Because he likes a harem and death.
Maybe, or it's all like, maybe it's like the maternal women, in my family. Or my other thought is like, we all have different lives. I kind of like am into this idea of like, we've been here before, we've reincarnated.
I
We have
believe in
or
reincarnation.
soul contracts.
Or he just went to heaven
Yeah.
and he's surrounded by women.
Right, exactly. So there's so many different interpretations, but I just love that she was picking up and like she was used to kind of get to me to be like, he's okay. And I was like, thank God, because he dropped dead in the street. He died of a heart attack.
Wow.
So
sad.
in
Sorry.
order to like, the fact that she was picking that up was so cool to me. I love it. I'm not like, when it comes to death, I'm like not afraid of it. Of course, I don't want the people in my life to die, but we're going to die.
Yeah.
But the fact that we can keep co-creating a relationship, like my mother pops up in dreams. I see her birthday.
So interesting you say that because as much as I am freaked out I had my first ghost experience, I guess.
At Greg's, that was your first time?
Yeah. It's also not a thing in the Indian culture.
Yeah.
Like we believe in reincarnation,
Right.
So the idea of ghost means that you're dead forever. And now
Right.
you're this floating soul. Like
Right.
it's just not something we believe in. What we do believe in is the spirit of that person, even if they're reincarnated, they're still a spirit in their original format, right?
Right.
And they could visit us in our dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I tell you all the time that my grandmother, who just passed during COVID, I was really close to her growing up my whole life. She came from India like once a year and would spend time here. And it was just the last several years she got older and it was just much more difficult. She came during, she passed during COVID rather. And she comes into my dreams like pretty frequently.
Oh, wow.
And they feel really real.
Yeah.
And my mom, I like told my mom this, and my mom was like, that's I reaching out to you.
Yeah.
Like she's there letting you know she's still like watching over you, which is a warm feeling. I'm not freaked out about it.
Right.
But I'm sorry, the black silhouette on the TV, I don't think I'm going to ever forget that.
Yeah. They're around
Yeah, that was
you.
interesting. That was my first ghost experience or spiritual experience of that nature as well. So,
And what about your sister? Does she experience stuff being there?
We told her.
Because she's really
she said-
interested in
So-
doing a reading.
so there's two
Can't wait for
instances.
that.
One at the house, and which I'm skeptical of, and then the other is the day that my mom died. So when my mother was dying, we all were there, and then she literally died. Like skin changed, everything just changed color. And I remember my Aunt Gail, my Uncle Frank, my dad, we all were there. And my Aunt Gail says to her, just let go, Carol. And all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, my mother's color returned. And she went from not breathing at all to
Wow.
like coming back. And then so we thought, okay, she's not dying right now because we'd gone through many instances where we thought she was going to
Right.
die. So my sister ends up leaving to just go run home and quickly take a shower because we rushed there in the morning. And then she's on her way back. And on her way back, there were different songs that came on the radio.
They love music.
Yeah, I forget which songs they were, but I'll be missing you. And then she's like, wait a minute. Then she go to another song and it's like something else of the same thing, something else of the same
Wow.
thing. And it's only maybe an 8-minute car ride.
Wow.
And then when she arrived, my mom had passed. My mom had passed right at that time that she kept hearing these songs.
Yep.
So that's one piece, but that wasn't at the house. That was on her way. At the house, down in the basement area, she was repainting a section. And after they had repainted something, there were these two spots where it almost looked like the way the paint settled in, it says hi.
Oh,
Isn't it still
my
there?
God,
It's still there.
That's beautiful.
And there's two of them. And this was after they repainted after my father had died.
Wow.
And so they feel it was my mom and my father
Yes.
both communicating to both my sisters there repainting that
Right.
area, communicating hi back to them. Because there was
That's
two
gorgeous.
of
Well,
them.
love continues. It doesn't end.
Well, they were also real, like long time lovebirds, right?
Yeah.
Like your mom and dad.
Oh, how long were they married?
They would be married, and they were still alive. They'd be married, 64, 65 years.
Yeah, my parents were married 49 years. When you hear numbers like that, it's like, wow.
My parents just celebrated their 45th anniversary.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was the trip to Bali. So speaking of I mean, this is not like an episode focused on ghosts by any means.
Right.
But it's more about, I guess, connecting with people
Yeah.
and spirits. And you're certainly a person that we love having in our life that's just you're very real. And you have these kind of skills, I would say, that a lot of people maybe just haven't developed them.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's things that we can tap into. I think you went to a class recently on intuition. Can you talk about this
course.
intuition or?
Yeah, it was an intuitive development class. And this was the second time I actually took it with Gina. Years ago, I took it and I would take the train from Penn Station and she had it in a hotel. And I remember being like, this is my home. This is where I need to be. She asked people to come up to the front of the classroom, 5 people. And she said, I want everyone to line up. And then all of you, classmates, whatever you see about that person or feel, just spit it out. What do you feel about this person or whatever? So I was one of the observers. And then, I would just give my 2 cents or whatever. And a lot of it, I would say 90% of what people were saying was true. I stood up in the class and people said things about me. And it was oh my God, they were all spot on. So I just knew, I was this is so fun. I love this and I want to do it. The class I took with her was for 6 weeks. I was traveling and filming while taking this class. So I'd be in Utah,
Oh, really?
doing the class and wanting okay, I hope we hurry up and get, from set so I can go to the hotel and take the class.
Was this when you were on that shoot recently
Yeah,
where you were
yeah.
all over the place?
Yeah. So she hosted this class. We did it on Zoom and She's just helping you tap into your intuition, because we all have intuition. You'd be surprised how often you tap into it. So knowing that maybe you're thinking about Greg and he calls you, you know, or there's a text and you're texting each other at the same time. I mean,
We do have those
Often.
like
yes.
all the time.
I
and
believe it.
We chalk it up to like, oh, that's such a coincidence.
Yeah.
We use that word.
Right.
Instead.
And some people say like there are no coincidences. It's because you're connected and you're supposed to flow in that kind of like frequency or that vibe. So we did things like every week she would come to the class with a picture of someone, and we would have to say what we thought of that person. And it could be anything, a color, a feeling, whatever you thought of. And it was crazy how we would all be sitting there on Zoom like, oh, I think he, you know, he must have worked for the transit system. He looks like he, you know, dates hot women, like all these different things. And she would just say like, absolutely, you're right, you're right. And then she would kind of tell us how they were connected to her.
Wait,
and the
can
whole
we do
story.
this now?
If I pull up a picture of someone?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it.
That
I
would
can totally
be
do that.
so cool.
Yeah, it's actually really fun. I'll give you
interesting.
guys a random picture.
Okay.
I don't know if we need to
Because
show
we
it on
don't
camera.
know
someone-
everybody in your life, right?
Right, exactly.
And then we have to describe what our
You have
intuitive
to-
thoughts would be.
Yes. And I'm not going to use anyone's name. So I'm going to find a picture of somebody you don't know. Meanwhile, I'm scrolling through. All right. So I'm going to give you a picture, because I don't think he would mind, of my brother-in-law. This is my brother-in-law, Henry. So I'm just going to let you guys look at it. And then just tell me, based on this picture, what comes up for you.
That's hard because now I'm on the spot.
Yeah. Just whatever comes up for you. Smells, feelings, sounds. There's no wrong answer.
He appears to be someone who is suave, but yet is a family man, smells good, likes to remain groomed. To me, he comes across as someone who's articulate, intelligent, someone who obviously dresses well. I feel like he's grounded, he's put together, is hitting his aspirations, and is confident in his shell, because even though he's wearing a hat, which might make people think that he's wearing a hat to cover something, I don't feel he's wearing a hat to cover anything, because he's also wearing glasses. He's wearing everything with confidence. He could be a good dancer, but not necessarily a musical person. Maybe a singer. Maybe he might be able to sing, but I'm not seeing someone who plays an instrument. I'm seeing someone who sits behind like a corporate desk job.
Is he getting it all wrong? Because this is a lot.
No, he's not. And it's, you see how you're like, at first you were like, but you started peeling away the onion, the layers.
And what's
Going-
interesting, it just kind of keeps coming to you.
Yeah.
What else should I be getting?
You can get whatever you want to. It could be like what his career is. It could be like what he values. Could be where he's from.
I think he's really on a roll here.
Yeah.
Well, you could always do
He's
somebody
someone who
else.
values friendship, someone who likes to have a great time, someone who isn't risk averse but maybe more calculated in when hanging out with people. Someone who's not reserved, but maybe a little naughty.
I love
You know,
it.
likes
Yeah.
to have a good time, but doesn't necessarily take it too far. I feel like, coming back to the desk job, I get accounting. I get something with numbers. And in terms of where he lives, I'm getting two things. I'm getting someone who's either in an urban environment or is really in a suburban environment, but is the way he is to feel like he's in an urban environment.
That's interesting.
Is kind of
Well
what I'm
done,
getting.
Greg.
Oh, you read all that?
Yeah.
I read something else.
What do you read?
Ooh.
I kind of think he's a player,
Interesting.
but he like may not take full action on the playing. I pick up, all right, I'm in a committed relationship, but the chain is making me think otherwise. And him sitting with his legs wide open and posing.
That's like so many men.
I was gonna say it's like a man.
Sorry, we
Man.
shouldn't interrupt her.
I was going to say, he looks like he is older, but wanting to be more youthful in how he feels and behaves. He looks like he might be in, I don't see numbers. I actually think he might be a creative just because of his entire ensemble here. He looks like he cares about how he looks and he puts work into it. He must work out a lot. But then he looks like he reads, like a voracious reader of a lot of stuff. I think he has a caring heart. Like he cares because he cares about himself, and he kind of applies that same way to others around him.
Yeah, that was so good.
I don't know what was
I
right
don't know
or
about
wrong.
that player part. I hope my sister doesn't watch. Delete.
Delete.
Delete. You guys are so spot on. So all the things you said were pretty much true. The player part, I think maybe what you're getting, I think it's like almost like we're connected to the confidence.
Yeah, well,
And
I think he
just-
wants to give off the player vibe, but he won't actually action upon it.
Yeah, like I think he's very what's the word? Not even flirtatious, but
Yeah.
he's like the guy in the room. He's like the life of the party, and he's very personal. Like he'll come up to you, he'll shake your hand, look you in the eye.
He's charismatic.
He's very charismatic.
But also, as we were just saying, like in terms of what I was saying, willing to take risks but not go too far, to me is not too dissimilar than what you're
That's
saying
sort
in
of
the
what
player.
yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah,
so
yeah.
interesting.
Oh,
Well, I'm
yeah.
sure he gets a lot of attention from women. He's a very good looking.
He's a very good looking man, yeah.
too. Yeah.
And then as you were saying about the way he dressed, I was saying someone who may live in a suburban environment but dresses a little more urban. As you're saying, someone who is older but trying to dress a little more fashionable and
Oh, that's
younger.
interesting.
So I feel that that's not too dissimilar either.
Yeah, he's like in our age group.
Okay.
He's a father of 5. It's my sister Tamika's
5
husband.
kids?
5 kids. You know, he's hot, she's hot. Like they're into each other, like you two, which I just admire. I'm like, that's so awesome. Like you still are attracted to each other. You love each other. You have 5 kids, and you still find time to do things
That's
and get
crazy.
sexy.
That's key.
And they laugh constantly. He doesn't work out, but he's just naturally built. He used to play soccer. And he coaches soccer at times. I don't think he's coaching right now. You said something about he's creative. So he's an artist. He does art, but he also works like at a school. So I thought about you.
Oh, with the numbers.
Yeah, he works at a school which has more of a suburban feel, but it's in the city. So that kind of made me think
What's he
of
do in the
that.
school?
I think he does like the grounds work, like what do you call it, like landscaping and stuff like that. He's helped build like gardens in Philadelphia, and he's just funny. He's originally from Cameroon, which is in West Africa.
Yeah.
So that's what I was getting at with like, can you see where he's from or whatever? But everything you said, very caring, so very positive. He's almost like kind of life coachy, to be honest.
I didn't want to be the white guy that just assumed he's from Africa.
Well, you said urban, so no. No, but that's what you feel. That's what you got. But he has spent a lot of time actually in the suburbs, like working at schools and things like that. He's just an overall good guy. When I need someone to talk to my son other than my son's father and me, I go to Henry because he has a way of connecting with Justin, being a man, being vulnerable, and he gets into it. Like he will be like, what's up with you and this? And he just like wants to know like where your heart is, and he's just overall a good guy. So you guys like nailed it. But see what I mean? Like you spent time with it.
Yeah.
And that was just looking at his picture.
That's true. I don't think I've ever done that before.
It's kind of fun, right?
It's so interesting, but it makes me rethink.
But you know people, like think about the people you've worked with. And you're like, ooh, like, I don't like his vibe. You could spend 5 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
2 minutes with someone, and you're like,
I do have a gut instinct about people,
Yes.
and I've been spot on about them.
Yep.
Remember
You have been.
when you want to see the better side of people, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah, I tend to err on the side of I think someone has to do wrong by me before I will.
Oh, got it.
I think because I always try to find the kindness and
Yeah.
the goodness in people
Yeah.
versus just.
I think I've just been burned too many times at this juncture.
Libra, Gemini, that makes
I mean,
sense.
we did an episode just a short while ago on why are people so judgy, but maybe it's me not understanding being judgy because I'm judgy.
Oh no, I'll still pick someone off for being judgy. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do. That's just a single
No, I'm saying
character
I'm
trait.
judgy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like I'm immediately able to judge character.
Right. Yeah.
And I know when I don't want to talk to somebody, and I know when I don't want to interact with them more than like the 2 sentences that we just exchanged, because I'm like, this is not worth my time.
Right.
But that's, I feel, a different form of judgment. You might be judging someone based off of a feeling or being with them for a couple minutes. You can kind of judge maybe who they are by kind of looking almost through them or into their soul, not to be profound. The other type of judginess that we were talking about is just people just judging for the sake of judging.
Oh yeah, people
Oh,
just
yeah.
being judgmental.
Judgmental.
Like everyone always says to me, I'm like, you're judging. We all judge. It's true. We all do. But we can work on it in the moment of like, why am I judging? What's coming up for me? And sometimes it's like we're judging something we see in someone that's really like reflecting back to us and who we are. But anyway, this stuff is fun. That's why I do it. Like the intuition piece, it's great for dating, you know, dating apps and like swiping left, swiping right. I'm on a dating app right now, but it's not about swiping. It's just like minus and plus, but I'm not going to say the name of it. It's a little different. It's a little out there, but it's fun. But I look at pictures of guys and I'm like, hey, I don't like it when guys are not smiling. But the person that I just started talking to isn't smiling in his pictures. And he's a Gemini.
Is this
and I love Geminis as a Libra.
The 30-year-old?
He might be 30.
Whoa.
All right, he is 30.
Tanya's like, all right, just from his picture on the dating profile. He lives in New York.
Could
He
you
has
imagine?
a good job.
I'm like,
he's
height.
intelligent. He has the height, even though it's not written.
I don't go that deep, but I am. I'm very like quick. Because you know, some guys come off as like creeps, you know, and you're just like,
I feel
no.
like they're probably all creeps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you pick up on energy. That's what, and you pick up on your own stuff too. So that's why intuition
So
is so
speaking
important.
of the dating app, what's it like as a single working mom raising a teenage boy and trying to date?
It's not what I thought it would be. Like my whole life is just so different than I thought it would be. And I, you know, you guys can relate to this and that you meet the people that are attractive in many ways, mind, body, and soul. And my son's father and I, we actually every couple of years, every year, like, do we want to get back together? How's this going to work? We love each other. But it's also just like, you just know what excites you. And I think my friends actually reflect back, like, in my family, like what kind of vibe I'm on right now, which is like, I want to have fun. I want to treat my body right. I cannot get involved with anybody who has like deep sort of trauma that they're not working on. That's like my big thing. I'm in a lot of energy right now where people are working through stuff. I'm super supportive of that, but I also am just like, I'm working on my stuff. I'm in therapy every week. If you're not in therapy and you've got stuff, like, don't step to me because I just don't have room for it. You know what I mean? I'm so compassionate when it comes to men. So compassionate.
Well, relationships aren't easy.
No, not at all.
You have to constantly be working
Yeah.
on it. You know, but
But work on yourself.
But what you're expressing is actually what I went through, gosh, now 7 years ago or more when I went through my divorce. It was very hard to make that decision.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this. I think I would have probably stayed married for the sake of being a good wife
Yeah.
and staying married.
Yeah.
But I would have been sad and miserable and mentally lonely.
Wow.
And that's when it dawned upon me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what am I teaching my child?
Yeah.
Like, I have to show her what a happy human being is. And,
Yep.
and I have to figure out what happiness is. And so my motto, since I decided to kind of walk the plank and jump off into the ocean that I'm swimming in now, is remove toxicity from my life.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be in my, like, on my side, then you don't have a part in my life. And you have to make hard decisions for long-term happiness.
Yep.
And happiness isn't just given to you.
Right.
You have to find a way to create it.
Exactly.
And it really did open the door for me to open myself to, like, having Greg in my life.
Right.
We met so many years ago, but we chose just to be best friends.
Right.
Which also didn't happen overnight.
Right.
Like, I was definitely keeping him at a yard's distance, even not willing to be in the same block radius,
Right.
because I wanted to continue to be a good wife,
Right.
a good mother. And I have very black and white feelings about those things.
Right.
It just allowed me the freedom to find happiness.
Yeah.
You have to have the courage.
Right.
Right. And you have, what you're doing is so important. And
Yeah.
And as we always say, you know, people always say that life is short. Our motto is life is long.
Yeah.
And so
why
you
live it miserably?
Why live
Right.
it miserably,
It's
right?
true.
You know, enjoy the ride. And sometimes you have to make unpopular decisions and do things that you feel are best for yourself and
Yeah.
or for your family or immediate surroundings. But at the end
Even
of the
if
day,
it hurts
even if it
people.
hurts people, it's still better to be divorced than to be in an unhappy marriage. Because if you do have children, what precedent is that setting for the
Yeah.
children?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like our parents' generation, like they were the generation to stay.
Yes.
And just suck it up. And I just think Gen Xers came along. They were like, we watched our parents do that. Not everybody's parents. I always tell people, tell the truth. Tell the truth to yourself.
To yourself.
And no matter if it hurts other people, that's not your responsibility to manage that. And I'm learning that after breaking up with my son's father, but also just like now with friends. Like, I just have to tell the truth. If I'm not telling the truth, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And we talk about that in therapy all the time. So my truth is, for 2023, I just want to find some delicious, gorgeous man. We can have fun. We don't have to like.
And you are age agnostic
I am
Age.
well
and height agnostic.
Well, I don't know about that, but I was telling these guys earlier that yes, I've dated men who are 5'7" and shorter than me and all of that. I don't think that's ideally what I want, and those were kind of flings. But I'm okay having a steady fling. I just want consistency and lots of delicious
Companionship.
sex. Yeah, I want more than companionship.
So it's all about
I want
the-
sex. I want
it's all about
good
the
ass
anatomy.
sex.
It is okay to want to make love and have relations.
Yes.
As a good Indian girl would say.
Well, sex is a big part of any relationship, right? So we have friends that talk about they have sex once a month. They're like,
Yeah,
what?
I know people like that too, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, we have folks around us who struggle just having to have a kid and making time for each other.
Yeah.
It really puts a wedge in the relationship.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And we're human beings
yeah.
and we have needs.
We have needs.
We do
and
have
we're,
needs.
yes, I'm just like, I just want to have a good time, be respectful, be safe. But I want to like go to a show with somebody, see some live music, get sexy, and like come
Yes.
home and just like go at it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And just be excited even about dressing up and looking good for
Yes,
someone and knowing that when
exactly.
they look at you, they're just going to be googly eyed.
Right, yeah.
You know, when looking at you. And then also to add on top of that, my partner, I put an intelligence factor on top of it too. And
Yeah.
having like wonderful, not only the looks, but
Conversation.
wonderful conversations, being able to do different things of culture, as you just said, going out to shows, great dinners, different forms of movies. It's a whole package.
Yeah.
It's a package that comes together. And when you find the right package,
Yeah.
that just
The right pack.
the right package.
It's harder for some than others.
Harder.
The package.
I'm like a 13-year-old boy. I'm like, she said package. He said harder. I'm aligned.
Yes.
No, but it's
Well,
true.
which is better, the harder or the package?
Oh,
Or should the package be harder?
Yeah.
all?
All of the above?
As a coach, I would say it's all possible.
It's absolutely
what you
all
dream up.
possible.
Yeah, vision it, just vision it. But like, I'm definitely want like a partner and a life partner. But right now, I just want to like find somebody consistently to have sex with.
So
Delicious sex.
speaking of like partners, thinking about some of the spiritual stuff we were just talking about, do you have like a ideal spirituality, a filter in which they should all be within, like an aura that you prefer? I don't know.
I would say, I mean, they don't have to be like me in terms of like spirituality and like having conversations like this, but you
You
can't
don't
like
want to
shut
go
it down.
ghost hunting together.
No ghost hunting, please. Unless we do a little role play and we're ghost hunting and we happen to fall upon each other as we're running from the ghost in the woods.
And you're only
Well,
wearing
ba-
a white sheet.
Well, based on your career, you could totally have a TV show like that, right? The do-it-yourself TV shows. It's like with the old school, like, you know, Bob Vila shows, but then you go to these old homes and you have like your new ghost hunting. So you're the medium that goes in and then speaks with the ghosts, tries to capture them.
It's like Martha Stewart Living meets Ghost Hunters.
Oh, yes. You exactly. You bring
God.
people back to homes and then you communicate with the dead to answer questions
we
for that
tell them
person.
to go and then we renovate their home.
Exactly.
To like switch it up.
I see
Hilarious.
this. I think you just need the right partner to make this come to fruition.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. But yeah,
That's
it's all
awesome.
about your intuition. Like, and that's what we're all doing, right? We're tapping into like, I know this person isn't good for me. I know this person isn't going to work for me. I didn't want to be the good wife and the good mom, like the way we perceive a good wife and a good mom to be. You just wanted to follow your heart and be Kirti, you know? And don't you feel free that you got out of that situation? I mean, that's for me the word that comes up every time. I feel like I'm literally breaking through like a wall when I'm tell somebody what the truth is. And it was hard for me to tell my ex, my son's father, like this wasn't working. That was
It was
horrible.
so hard.
Really
It was-
bad.
I will never forget the weight that
Yeah.
I carried
Yeah.
for so many years.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but like for me, it was like since I was 20 years old,
Yeah.
one person, one partner.
Right.
So
That definitely wasn't my story.
I'm like,
He was my favorite partner.
oh, yeah, no.
And why'd you break
I-
up?
Why did we break up? I think well, it's funny. He always says like we did Myers-Briggs with our psychologist, our therapist at the time where we went to therapy, but he came to 2 sessions and then kind of left me, and I ended up being with Dr. Woodson for 12 years. But we're kind of incompatible in a way. You know, he's like a great dad, great person, so generous, such a good heart, Aquarius, which I don't really want to date Aquarians anymore, but it's just like, we're just very different.
Alert to the men interested. You have to be more than 5'10", and
Over
you
5'10".
cannot be an Aquarius.
Not an Aquarius.
Sorry,
I'm
Aquariuses.
sorry. I like Geminis. I like Libras, of course. I like Aries a lot. I like Leos, but I think with Leos, they're just like, sometimes they're just
Couldn't they be a little bit
a little
flaky?
too much. I don't know if Leos are flaky. They need the room, the attention.
Oh,
Leos,
I know some Leos. Yeah,
yeah, that can just be a little like they need command the space and need that attention. So sometimes that's just too much for me. But why did we break up? Yeah, it's just, we were very different. I'm very social and I'm connect with people and I love people and I love my friends. And he is very like family oriented, loves his family, but he didn't have like a big friend group. And that's the other thing I think from my like life partner, they've got to kind of have like their own friends or be willing to like join my group of friends and, make it work.
right.
Ideally, if you have tattoos too, that always works for me. Lots of tattoos. I don't know why. I love them.
The tats.
See, I'm not into the tats.
I know we've talked about
Yeah,
this.
neither of us have tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I don't
like
have any.
It's like not something we even ever talked about.
Oh,
I
I
have
love
a
them.
like a belief that your body is your temple.
Yeah.
The other part of tattoos, and no offense to, I know tattoos are really popular out there, and to each his own. But like for me, my body has fluctuated in the last like 25
Oh,
years,
right.
especially.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, that tattoo would look freaking ugly if I got it in the wrong place.
Well,
I
I just
just
think
don't-
about what they would look like when
It's
we're
like-
in our 90s and 80s.
And like,
I just do not want
wrinkled.
anything permanent.
Oh.
Yeah. I prefer not to
No.
have anything permanent on my skin.
Oh, I love when guys have sleeves. I'm like, oh, I just want to bite your arm.
Yeah. We have a few
Yeah.
family members with sleeves.
Oh my God, God Spice, the dating app.
Gosh,
You help couples, like you match them.
you know.
Ooh, we can be matchmakers.
You can
Yeah.
be, oh my God, that would be a great series.
Yep.
That's a matchmaker series.
Absolutely. Who's got spice?
Maybe that's the podcast you launch based off of our franchise.
Oh, yes.
Why create a new audience? Just
Right.
build off
You
of
want-
this.
Oh,
It's interesting.
I would.
RuPaul just came to my head. Like I could see him now, like hosting this show. Who's got spice?
Do you have spice?
Do you have spice?
Sorry, you don't have spice. You'll have to leave.
You'll have to,
Goodbye.
and what you can do is you can have, like a series of men and women, and it's like this dating game, and they can date whatever sex they want, and they identify who has spice or not.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Or it
God.
could be like, what's the show with
We're
Nick
building a whole
Lachey?
game here. This
We
is
are.
amazing.
Nick Lachey and what's her name? What's the
Oh, Jessica
Love,
Simpson?
Love at
Jessica
First
Simpson?
Sight? No, what is it called? It's on Netflix. Oh, Love is Blind.
Oh, wait, is this the one? Oh no, that show.
But I can
was
see you
so
guys like
bizarre.
hosting. I
But
can
like,
see you
did
hosting.
you see that show? I would not fall in love with some freaking based off of their voice.
Well, it's happened. Look at the first couple, the black girl and the white guy. They're still together.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Are
Lauren
they?
and Cameron. Yeah.
That's kind
I-
of like what's his name? Dr. Jung had that show. I Can See Your Voice.
Oh no, I don't know
Yes.
that.
I'm not
No,
sure.
who is that?
Oh yeah.
What? Who is
What's
that?
his name? I call him
can
Doctor.
see your
I think it's not.
voice?
What's his name? Oh, Ken is his name. He's the actor from the
Oh,
Hangover.
the comedian.
The comedian
yes,
guy.
he
He has
has
that
a
show. I Can
show.
See
Right,
Your
right, right.
Voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. It's a take on from The Masked Singer, where he's a judge, and then he kind
okay.
of created
Yeah.
a whole other piece.
What's the aura thing? Didn't you guys do like an aura thing? Speaking
did.
of,
We did do auras. Actually, a brand week in September.
oh, you did.
They
And
had
what was
a
it?
aura reader, and my aura. I have to find where the photo is, but basically, it had a lot of blues converting to reds with then a white line halo surrounding like a crown they said I had.
Oh, wow.
And she said, I was like, I have no idea what this
Princess
means.
Kirti.
I'm like, I have no idea what this means. What is this business? And I'm like, did I have too many margaritas at this conference? Like, what is this telling me? And she was just like, you basically have been very hard and focused on your career and kind of your profession and your education. And she said to me, it looks like that's what's concentrated in like the bottom here, but have discovered a higher value in your life. You find that being wealthy is not meaningful to you. And in fact, it's this idea of having and being surrounded by love that fulfills you. And she said that's what the crown represented because I'm not focused on the superficial things in life.
Right.
I'm actually focused on the humanity and what matter, like the things that matter, really, that should matter, right? But we all get sucked into different scenarios depending on where our life's at.
Right.
That's what she
And
said
do
to me.
you agree with that?
Actually, I do agree with that. Even the career choices I've made in the last like 5 years have been less so about me being money hungry and, I want a CMO job or I'm going to make a lot. It's really been about, do I really like the people there? Is it going to allow me to have work-life balance? Is it going to allow me to learn something new?
Yeah.
Like, so even the stuff that I am at the core, very much a career woman, whatever you want to call me, a professional in my craft, it's sort of taken like a parallel line to family and friends.
Yeah. I could see that. I could totally see that.
What's interesting is that, so when mine was read, it wasn't too dissimilar. The person reading my aura was basically saying that what's interesting is that we both have kind of transcended the material in life and care more about, love. And we've moved on to a different phase.
Yeah.
Where those material items, as much as we love material items, it's just, that's not the main importance to us anymore.
Wow.
And being cutthroat, say, in our careers. My aura, which was red, what they first did is they took a picture and then you could just see the aura around you, right?
Yeah.
And so mine had, light blues and purples and some pink in there. And I also...
You had a good splash of pink, I remember.
A splash of pink. And when reading mine, there was also 2 white dots, which they said were guardian angels.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. So 2 white dots of guardian angels.
Aww.
And they also mentioned in both of ours, there was rush of color for both of us somewhere on there that said there was a cleanse that recently happened. And we had just moved from our downtown apartment, literally less than a month prior to this, and moved into our new place. And we purged
We purged a lot.
We purged quite a bit. So we really had this cleansing experience before moving into our new
Isn't that
apartment.
crazy?
That is crazy.
All from a
Very crazy.
Polaroid photo she took of us.
Yeah. I mean, that's insane. But see what I mean? It's just like the synchronicity. And also that you two kind of had to come together because you're like helping each other transcend and get to that place too.
So we are at an exciting point of our conversation where we've been talking about angels and auras and intuition. And we are going to do what's called an angel reading. This is not like tarot cards or tarot cards or whatever those are.
No one is an expert here.
There's no penny dreadful action happening
What
here.
makes this different than tarot cards?
I don't know. I mean, the reason why they came into my life is because I have friends who are into the same stuff, like very spiritual. So my friend Barry used to have them in our office and we would just shuffle cards. And it's just supposed to like guide you. So you ask a question and then hopefully the card will like somehow shed some light on whatever that question is. If you don't have a question, then you can just like say, what do I need to know right now?
I think I'm going to go with the what do I need to know right now.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm sorry, I keep
Yeah,
bumping
you're
into you.
fine.
You're just finding ways to rub the knees.
That's how I roll. I can't help it. The women love me.
Okay, so I shuffled it.
Yeah.
And then what do I do?
Just pick however you want to pick it, just pick a card.
Okay. Rando.
Okay.
Notice the signs. Yes, the signs you've been receiving are heaven sent. We drop feathers, coins, and other signs upon your path to remind you that you are loved and never alone. Remember that penny I picked up a few days ago? on our walk.
Are you
I do.
serious?
It was a penny heads up. And I never pick up things on the street, but I was like, it's a shiny copper, beautiful penny, and the head is up. So I picked it up.
Oh, wow.
So it's in my coat pocket.
Oh, look at that. And I just kind of mentioned signs to you just now, too. So that's done, right? All right. So now I'm going to read it for deeper meaning. Oh, and by the way, we should mention that these are daily guidance from your angel oracle cards by Doreen Virtue, who is a woman who no longer actually believes in this. She kind of became like a born-again Christian. And I could be using the wrong title, but she is all about Jesus and the Bible, and she is not about angel cards anymore. So just giving that
She
as
might
a
be a
background.
Trisha Paytas fan then.
Who's that?
She's,
Like a YouTube star.
who was a born-again Christian, who then
Oh.
became a born-again Jewish, who became a major...
Oh, another one? Oh.
Yeah, she just is...
Well, did she become
And that's,
Jewish?
that's okay, right?
She became Jewish,
Oh,
remember?
to marry her
She
husband.
married Moshe.
Yeah, Moshe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I think
wow.
she was like a crack addict, street.
She had a song called
hooker,
I Love You,
homeless person.
Jesus.
Yeah, she's basically one of the, I think, a born again that was basically homeless on the street and then found Jesus and then all of a sudden success just happened to
She's
happen for
become
her.
a hugely rich YouTube star.
Oh, wow. I have to look her up.
Of course,
after.
my daughter introduced me to her.
Oh, I got to check her out. Okay. The angels gave you this card to help you understand the signs you've been receiving lately. These signs may include feathers, coins, butterflies, birds, or other repetitive visions that make you think of the angels who have deliberately sent you these signs to let you know that they are nearby, protecting, loving, and guiding you. Additional meanings for this card. Your departed loved ones in heaven are saying, "Hello, I love you." Notice and believe in the repetitive signs you receive as validation that you're on the right path. Have faith. Follow the signs that are guiding you to your heart's desire. Yeah.
Maybe we will go to Mexico.
Ooh.
Within the next 20 years.
It's funny. I was going to recommend Mexican for dinner. So there you
Oh,
go.
we love Mexican food.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let's.
And we like Mexico too.
Do you want to do one? I'm not going to
Uh,
do one because I do them all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So am I supposed to ask a question first?
You can ask a question. You don't have to tell us what the question is either, but you shuffle.
Okay.
And while you're shuffling, just like, put your intention in it. You just want guidance, ask your question, shuffle away, and you can say it out loud what your question is, or you keep it to yourself, and you can reveal it after if you want. Build up some suspense, some spicy suspense.
Tick
That I will do.
tock, tick tock, tick tock.
All right. Steady progress. We acknowledge for you the progress you've made in remembering love in your daily activities. We can clearly see the contribution you're making to the world through your thoughts, feelings, and actions of love.
You are very loving.
You are. You're always like, oh, steady progress. Here it is. Okay, you ready? You drew this card as reassurance that you're making steady progress. You sometimes harshly compare yourself to others and feel that you should be farther ahead on your path by now. Yet, look how far you've come, how many lessons you've learned, and how many people you've helped. Focus on your progress instead of expecting perfection from yourself. Each day, take at least one small action step concerning a project that you're passionate about. Additional meanings for this card. You're on the right path, even if it feels that you're moving slowly. Praise the light instead of cursing the darkness. Appreciate yourself.
That's interesting. I feel that that's applying to more to my life right now in trying to deal with some challenges or obstacles. But the question I actually asked, bringing it back to our story earlier, was asking, was that my father or grandfather that was there that night?
Is that
as
the
part of our
question
ghost?
you
That was my
thought of?
question.
Yeah,
But I got that card.
But that's interesting because she got the right, exactly. So sometimes you hear someone else's card, it can resonate with you. Just like when you started reading yours, I've gotten both of these cards and I was like, oh yeah, notice the signs.
That's interesting.
Because there's lots of transformation and changes coming for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
So
just something to
basically,
think
the card's
about.
all about being patient, appreciate the positivity, and forget the negativity, because what is meant for your life moving forward, or what you're anticipating, will eventually be there for you if you continue on that path.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's like you're loved. Like angels are. You've already been told about your angels too, and the experience in your house. I think that's a sign that like you guys are going to always be okay. You know what I mean? And just follow your hearts. Just like you said, like, you know what I mean? Like just follow the love, I would say.
Well, Greg didn't tell you the story of how like he's traveled 1,000 years to find me.
Oh no. What is that?
Oh wait, she doesn't know that story, Greg?
It was actually 3,000.
Oh, I'm so sorry, honey.
3,000 years? And who told you this?
So I believe this in my heart. I believe truly in my heart, Kirti and I were a prince and a princess 3,000 years ago who died prematurely. And our souls have been looking for each other ever since, because we met at an event that neither of us were really supposed to
Be at? Wow.
And in an industry that neither of us really had planned to be part of our career.
Right,
We're both
right,
from the
right,
entertainment world, and we
right.
met through the finance world.
That's right.
And
Wow.
so I feel like our paths somehow collided and met because we've literally been searching for each other for that period of time.
Wow. Completion.
Completion.
Yeah. That's cool.
And I did everything to avoid him. But somehow he kept like coming back into my life through work situations.
Right.
It's
But why were you avoiding him?
Because I felt a connection.
Yeah.
And I was scared.
Right.
And as I mentioned earlier, when you have to stay committed in your committed relationship.
Yep.
And he kept appearing, like not because he was looking for me specifically, but like work brought us together.
Right.
And then later, it was actually me re-embracing music again when I had shut down my kind of acting, singing, whatever side, because I was just so focused on my corporate career.
Right.
He brought me back into music.
Right.
And, you know, it may sound cheesy, but music really does bring people together.
Totally.
And it's a vulnerable craft.
Yeah.
And when you take the time to do it, you get to know each other on a different level. And there was no way I could avoid him anymore.
Right. But that's like what I was saying earlier about like whoever I end up with, like music is always playing in my house in every room.
That's how we are.
That's a huge piece of it. We've got to have that connection because that's a vibration. That's a frequency too. You know? And it gets you all like tingly inside and like
music sets the mood.
Yeah, and it's such
for any kind of mood.
Yeah,
like whether you want to like be angry and like listen to hard rock, or you want to be like in a loungy mood and put on some Buddha bar, or you want to go all gangsta and put on some hard rap and hip hop.
Yes.
Or then when you want to feel sexy, you put on Rihanna. Yes. Like, you know, we got like moods.
Yeah.
We got music really sets the mood.
It really does.
But I guess my main question is, why don't we break some rules?
I feel like we break rules all the time.
Rebel more.
Yeah. I feel
like I've always been a rebellious individual.
You are a unique one in the Gen Xers.
Oh, yeah.
How are you rebellious? Tell me. I don't know, because, you know, you're my friend of like almost a year.
Kirti, I mean, what are some examples? You know I'm quite a rebellious person that if...
What? You just said it, so you better own it. Let's go.
I guess I'm,
all talk, no action.
So I guess the way I look at it is that there are rules that people live by, and then there are the rules that I live by. Right. So an example, now that you put me on the spot, I'm trying to think of examples.
I know what you're rebellious about.
What's that?
Greg thinks the time was built around Greg.
Well, that's not necessarily rebellious, but that's just pure fact.
If you want me to come to a 6 p.m. dinner, I won't be there till 8.
Well, no, I just tell people.
What?
No, I just say, look, if
I have to start a meeting at 8 a.m., tell them I'll be there at 10.
Oh, actually, that's actually a perfect example. So back in high school, I forgot about this. In one of my math classes, which I really did quite well in, I was a senior in school. I held the record for most consecutive tardy days. It was like something like 40 plus days because I sat down.
It's not an achievement, honey.
No, it is.
You don't strike me as that.
Oh no, I did.
Especially with this one.
No, I did quite well. No, I did.
You think this bitch doesn't get whipped by me?
So I did incredibly well in the class, but what I did is I sat down with the teacher. School started at 7:45 a.m. I sat down with the teacher and said, look, I just cannot be here by 7:45, but I can get here by 8. And so we came to an agreement that I would just be there at class at 8 p.m. I mean, 8 a.m.
White man privilege.
White man. It was
no brown people can do shit like that.
We were told to do better than all of you.
Yeah.
I was beaten for even being there.
Yep. Or another example, when I went to
They're like, I'm sorry, why are you here? Shouldn't you be with the janitor or the gas station guy doing something down the street?
Even when I went to university, I sat down with my guidance counselor because I hooked up with a great internship here in the city at Electric Lady Studios, and I was supposed to go up to University of Connecticut, up in Storrs, Connecticut, which is just too far. I couldn't do this internship down here. And so UConn had a branch in Stanford, so I was taking classes there. But my degree was going to be a business and music degree. They didn't offer the music portion there. And so I sat down with my guidance counselor and said, well, how do we rectify this? And she's like, well, you're not going to be able to do that at this institution. I said, well, you as an institution are here to help further my career, not impede it. Therefore, you need to find a way to help me do this. And so we sat down and came up with a plan, and we discovered that if I went to a comparable institution, which I ended up going to SUNY Purchase for my music credits, that if I found a comparable institution, that she would then petition it to the dean of the school.
What?
She went to the dean.
Look at your face.
She went to the dean, and she came back and said, the dean said she's never done this before. She's never, I guess, had anyone come to her with this before, and they agreed to let me do it.
Wow.
And so I took all my business classes and all my general classes at UConn, and I took all my music and music business classes, production classes at SUNY
That's because they thought you were mafia. They thought you were Italian mobster, and they're like, "Oh shit, let's get this kid what he wants."
So
The Avia Grazia Plena is going to come after us.
so
What's that accent?
It's supposed to be my bad Italian accent.
she tries.
Do you speak Italian, by the way?
I
No,
speak
so he can't make fun of my accent.
No, I speak French.
Oh, you
So you do not speak French.
The language of love.
Just because you say it like that does not
how
make
he
it
like
French.
laughed at himself.
I know. He finds himself funny all the time.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Go ahead, finish.
So I'd say throughout my life, actually, as I look throughout my life, there's been the traditional rules, and then I've circumvented many of those rules to fit the life that I was planning for myself, essentially.
Okay.
Nothing was going to stop
so-
me getting
Well
from
put.
where I wanted to be, and I will find a way to get there. And if there's a blocker, I always found a way
But
to
you had the
remove that
confidence
blocker.
to do that too.
Which is interesting. Kirti knows this. Confidence is something I do struggle with.
Yeah.
So I'm confident in certain areas, but in other areas, I'm always just second guessing myself, which I
Right.
think maybe helps me in other areas of my confidence levels.
That's because you're a perfectionist.
That's true. I am a perfectionist.
Which is what that card kind of
Yes.
said.
That card was about the perfectionist.
Mic drop. Cue it. Yeah.
Perfectionism at its best.
Wow.
Yes.
So I totally understand why you, out of the 3 Gen Xers here, felt privileged to push back. It goes back to a theory I have about you that we talked about in one of our episodes,
What would that
which
be?
is you're a man boy and you're tapping your inner millennial, I think.
It very well could be. But then also I could be an alpha as well, because we're in the era of the generation alpha.
You are not an alpha. Let's not make
I'm
you
an alpha male.
Yeah, you might be an alpha male, but I don't want to call you alpha gen because that would make it really sad.
I need to read about. Well, I think you should explain to your audience what that is because I don't think people know that.
Well, the alpha gen group is basically people born in the late 2010s till current day.
That's so crazy.
That's really young.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a compliment, honey, but at least I was making you a millennial.
You know what? Because I'm so youthful looking and I have this broad intelligence
Oh boy.
that
I'm sorry. Is there smoke burning behind you guys?
I'm smelling something. A little something. Oh, my sweet
That's-
Libra.
that's her witch's brew.
I can see you being a witch.
Yeah.
I was told I was a witch in Salem.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. I can believe that. All this stuff I'm into. Yes, I could have totally been a witch.
Do you think I could be a witch? I was thinking more like a
don't know.
genie. You know?
Oh, a genie in the bottle.
Yes. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby.
I'm a genie in a bottle.
Well,
You gotta rub me the right way.
let's see.
Yes. We don't need cards. Just pull
Okay.
out the genie.
Pull out the
So, if you want to give a little bit of a shout out to what you do and how people can find you, because you're fabulous
Yes.
and we all help each other in this creative community.
Yes. Well, I coach, so I normally give out my @YourLifeCoach. That's my handle on IG. I'm mostly on IG. I haven't really posted there in a while. My @TJ Produces is really more for my friends. So even though I just share that with everybody, if you know these guys and you're cool, I'll be your friend on IG. But coming up for me, I'm just looking forward to like a new year, more coaching, doing more collaborative coaching. If you want to look for my website, it's @YourLifeCoach on IG, but then my website is yourlifecoach.com. So I coach people in careers, relationships, really like the relationship with yourself.
But one thing you forgot, contact info for
yeah.
prospective lovers.
Oh,
Yes, that's the important one.
DM me at TJ Produces. Yes, thank you. Look at you looking out for me, Greg. Right here, boo.
That's
yes.
how we roll.
he's the best.
Yes.
You're good.
That man boy.
I will be vetting all of these men.
Best man boy I've ever met.
I do love that man boy.
Oh,
You do.
I love you,
I love you.
woman, girl.
I'm not really a woman girl.
I know. I was thinking of what would
I'm
be
like
the...
an old soul. Like I'm like people always say I'm 40 compared to like my age.
Oh, that's a
since
great
I was,
word. Foddy. I love
Foddy.
that word, yeah.
You know, just like frock.
Yeah.
We covered so many great words.
Did we talk about that in the session that
No,
we didn't
we
record?
haven't.
that was before we started.
Yeah, that was before we
I think
started.
you should tell that to your audience. That was pretty
Oh
funny.
my lord, about how Kirti wants to frock all the time.
No, it was actually how you were dressed in frocks as a baby.
Oh,
And I thought it was like a weird Italian thing.
And it wasn't your communion or baptism.
christening. Yeah. Are
christening.
you sure it
No.
wasn't that?
No, not communion.
Oh. It
No,
must-
I know your outfit for that. That was different, and you were like smaller
It
looking.
was it for one of my
You were
Ralph
like
Lauren
sitting
like photo
up.
shoots?
You were like a toddler, and you were in this white frock.
I
with
need to see this
these
picture.
blue things on it.
Post
I don't
this
know.
picture on social.
Osh
I'm
Gosh
gonna
Bagosh
I'm
reached
gonna
out
ask
and asked me to
Kristen for
model.
this. I'm gonna have to ask your sister to resend it.
I can't help it that Osh Gosh Bagosh reached out, wanted me to model, and that's the photo
No,
you're
it
having
looked
to see.
more like something
Sponsor.
that came from like Positano. It was like, you know, it was beautiful and, you know, it
was wonderful
hand
knits.
the
woven.
embroidery.
The embroidery was like blue things, you know,
Very Mediterranean.
so Mediterranean. So,
So that's actually you were asking before. We were talking about when we fight, and which is very few and far between.
Onions
It's-
and chicken.
It's onions, chicken, and then sometimes just frustration that anyone has, like as it pertains to kids.
Yeah.
Right.
I witnessed it.
So
I thought you guys were, I loved it. I was like, get it. Like, talk about it. I thought it was cool.
And then the only other time probably that ends up into not even a fight where it's really more of her frustration. And so you can ask Lita about this. Lita just knows whenever Kirti's upset with Greg, it's because we haven't frocked in like 24 hours.
okay.